Welcome to Love Always Self, a podcast about connection to self, reflections of self, and how this impacts our reality.
We're all about trying to find balance, discovering tools for spiritual wellness, and creating a safe place to have loving conversations about a broad range of topics.
I'm Karista, a spiritualist with a background in nursing, health coaching, and personal training. I believe in a holistic mindset where everyone and everything can work together in harmony by giving love and attention to the body, mind, and spirit so that we can create a more balanced life. I want to help guide you in your personal journey to create a life filled with joy, magic, and love.
And I'm Shyra, an explorer of personal truth with a background in program management, finance, and more recently, a spiritual intuitive, learning to connect with spiritual guides whom I like to call Mount Glass. I have an always growing passion to not only guide myself, but to also guide others in opening to and creating stronger connections with our highest self, allowing us to see and feel life in a whole new loving light.
We believe that we are all connected, and by learning to love self, we will elevate the collective consciousness and learn to create deeper connections with each other, self, and source. As we grow and learn through our own life adventures and self-discoveries, we hope you gain insights into your own truth.
Don't forget to subscribe to stay notified of new content. We would love to hear from you. So if you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to discuss, please email us at contact@lovealwaysself.com. Or you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at lovealwaysself, and this will be linked in the show notes. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, beautiful, and hello, beautiful souls. I hope you all are having a wonderful day this morning. We are taking a few minutes to kind of sit down and review all of the beautiful things that we've been able to experience over the last year. Not all of them beautiful, but all of them have silver linings for sure. So today is like the second or third day that last year we would have been staying at home, our quote unquote 15 days of lockdown to flatten the curve. 15, and it's now 367 days, I think, something like that, working from home. So yeah, it's been quite a year. So
it has been quite a year. Agreed.
So I guess, I can start us off because, we were just kind of like reviewing again what around this time last year was occurring. Of course, like I said, the announcement of, shutdown, and, right before this happened, I was getting ready to go on a trip. You were coming too. We were getting ready. We were 2 weeks out from our trip to Jamaica for my destination wedding. And this was like 2 weeks after my bachelorette party. And it was I remember it was such a hard decision to make, like just trying to decide to delay a wedding that we've already been planning 2.5 years. But, I was really concerned about the health and well-being of ourselves, but more so our family and friends than anything. So I remember that as soon as we made that decision and called the resort and switched it over, I felt just this huge sense of relief.
Yeah.
Putting people out of harm's way. Now, of course, a year later, we're gearing up, getting ready to do that again. So
yes, I'm so excited. 2 weeks.
Yeah. But, that decision that kind of put in this, into play, we were trying to figure out, what can we do to still have some semblance of some sort of ceremony on our original wedding day. And I remember, 2-3 days before, we had gone to a couple different places around Austin to look at them. And we got, kickback from just the handful of people that we were, inviting. Didn't want it to be in public because there were fines that were being, served to people for being in groups in public. And
I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was very limited options, and I actually had thought about texting a an acquaintance, a friend that was previously a coworker, and this was Kelly, and because she had offered a year before, oh, come over, enjoy my backyard anytime you want, bring a glass of wine. I don't even have to be here, And so I thought about texting her, and I didn't. Right? I did not text her. And I remember that night, 2 nights before our quote unquote wedding date on April 4th, I actually wrote in my journal, I want this, universe. I want to marry John. I will fight for this, but I don't want to. And I shit you not, within 30 seconds of me writing that, she texted me. She reached out to me offering her place, her backyard, as a place to host the ceremony. And it was just such like I was in such
Alignment.
awe of the
Yeah.
universe. Like the universe must have put my name on her heart for her to reach out, and just that, recognizing that beautiful connection. And this young lady, I had not talked to her in 6 months, and she reached out.
Isn't that crazy? And you got cake.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And so we went over there the next day, 24 hours before the day, looked at her place, said, yes, this is going to be perfect. Overnight, she transformed her balcony, like put up decorations, moved her fire pit, and put candles out, and set up music, and baked a cake, and monogrammed cups with my new last name, and got champagne, and pulled out some dresses in case I didn't have one. Like, it was just
like, that's that friend you need to
What?
coordinate things, right? Like, that's just incredible that she pulled that off in that amount of time as well.
Blows my mind.
Yeah.
Blows my mind. Just how kind and thoughtful and just supportive and loving she was, even though we're not like in regular communication. Like, it's just such a thank you, universe.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So cool how that worked out. And I remember like when that was going on, it was just like, you were very kind of torn between like, how am I going to find a space like this? Like, how am I going to make sure that everyone's comfortable? Who should I bring or ask to come? And then it was just like, when you like called me and told me what was going on, I was like, how weird. Well, I mean, especially back then, I thought things are a little bit more weird when alignment that cool happened. So it was just more like, how weird is that? Like, that's amazing. Like, wow. Talk about like divine timing, or, do you want to call it alignment, or do you want to, call it manifestation? Like, you can call it that too. Or maybe you just hop timelines.
Even. Yeah.
Like maybe hop timelines, the timeline that you actually really wanted to be on at that point. Who knows? Like,
yeah.
But you're having fun with it, and it worked.
And like, I put it out there. I said, I want this. Like, I absolutely want this. And universe said, okay, well, since you said so, here you go.
Yeah. So cool.
Ask and you shall receive. So cool.
Yeah. When all of this went down for me last year, at this time last year, I had just gotten, again, talk about amazing timing or alignment or manifestation, whatever you want to call it, right? I had just started a new job, and the job that I had changed to was profitable enough to not have to reduce their headcount.
Yeah. No layoffs.
Their staffing, no layoffs, right? And the job that I left did. And they had a lot of cutbacks and rate reductions and, or salary reductions and all that. So I would have definitely been in a little bit more trouble had I stayed and not made that change.
You onboarded 2 weeks before lockdown.
I was in California as the lockdown started happening. I took the last group of flights out of California back to here where we are in Austin the night they stopped doing flights, or the night before they stopped doing flights, like
Yeah.
Dang. I got super lucky.
Yeah, for sure. Can you imagine being stuck, like not at home?
Oh no. And at that point I had already been gone for like almost 2 weeks and I was just missing home so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was an intense time, but I was very fortunate enough to get to go and meet my team and these incredible people that I work with. And that small amount of time that I was there built a significant relationship for my job. So very, very fortunate, honestly.
And those relationships that you've developed, you've been able to share some of your light too with them.
Yeah.
And, share some of this woo-woo talk. And it's just so cool, like how those connections play out. Again, divine timing.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. Let's see. So I also had just adopted a puppy too. So that was fun, like being able to stay at home with our Australian Shepherd Healer mix, Nova, and actually, train her and not have to put her in a kennel. That was really cool. We were not having children. So this is our child. This is one of our children. And so that was really special, being able to really connect and be at home and take care of family as well. Yeah. Man, so lockdown basically cut us off from our quote unquote normal routines. And basically, looking back, we were just moving through our days, doing the motions, just taking care of the external responsibilities. So this was blessing in disguise, because it was like a great pause to really stop and create a space for stillness and reflect on what's working for us too, and evaluate what we can do better to support ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And so I think that was a really unique opportunity to, because obviously none of this has ever happened in our lifetime. It hasn't.
Never.
It's been 100 years,
Never.
Since the last pandemic, and we did not live a life like we do now. Mm-hmm. And this really created that space for introspection and growth.
It did. Let's see. Let's going over things that I took away or that I gained coming out of this last year, despite all the crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I got a house. I would not have gotten this house had the lockdown had not happened prior to COVID. Shall I dare say? Prior to that, we were in a bidding war in the city. And I was genuinely worried about finding a home. Our landlord at the time of the house that we were renting was trying to put his house on the market, which we were not thrilled about people coming to tour our home during COVID. So we were having to have discussions with him about that. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. And he was like, I got to send a photographer and like all this stuff to your house to put it on the market. I'm like, what the heck, dude?
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, what are we going to do? Like, are we going to, rent again somewhere else and move again? Like, how do we want to do this? And I had been building this like Pinterest board for years. And I just remember sitting on the couch, everyone's sitting at home, right? Boys are upstairs at the rental house. And I get this little ping from one of the real estate apps. And I see the house, and it's literally like every little detail that's in the photos of this home is like exactly what I had on this Pinterest board that I'd been creating. And again, crazy, amazing timing.
And manifestation.
That as soon as I saw the house, I went up, I spoke with Steven, and I was just like, yo, you got to see this house. Like, this is crazy. It's in our price range. Like, we should go look at it. And he's like, well, call up the agent. So called up, my friend / agent, and like, he just so happened to be available that exact minute. And he's like, meet me there. I was like, what is happening? And we were able to literally, because nobody was leaving their home at that point, which was a very freaky ride. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
Like getting on the highway to go see this house.
Not a car on the road.
Car on the road. You feel like you're doing something illegal. You're not entirely sure if you should be doing this, right? And because of that scenario, we were the first and only offer that they took.
Wow.
And that's not something that you can do today.
No.
Now that things are normalizing, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm the one that's in the housing market now trying to buy a house, and that is insane. That's a totally different rabbit hole, though. So, but how cool is it that you literally manifested that out of your Pinterest board, and it all happened the way it was supposed to?
Yeah.
And now you have this beautiful oasis in the backyard that you can really enjoy. Narnia back there.
And we used to talk about that amazing, like, just a little background on the alignment of how it all went down. It was incredible, because so many times that I, like, not the company I was with at the time that, we decided to buy the house, and definitely not the one I'm with now. But prior to that, I was very unhappy with where I was at work. But that particular job came with the benefit of that retirement plan. And then, of course, that company got bought, and I got my retirement plan. And, like, that's how, and, like, it's amazing how all of that just took a long time. Don't get me wrong. It took a long time, but everything, all of those lessons, everything that I learned during that role, the money I was able to establish while in that role, like, it all fell into the exact place that it needed to fall into to work in my favor and to create the reality that I was actually asking for. And it didn't feel like it at the time back then. It's cool to actually be able to pick that up now.
Yeah.
Right? Looking back, just like it was for this entire last year, all the things that occurred this past year, which, trust me when I tell you guys, is absolutely insane what this last year has been like. But it is somehow...
We'll get more into that too.
Yeah, we'll get more into that for sure. Just working out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So what was next in your year?
After the home, it kind of went on a full-on whirlwind from that point.
Oh, wait, hold on. I just remembered something else. Like, towards the beginning of the summer, COVID was around, obviously, for like 3 months. And we started developing, I'm a nurse, and I work for a healthcare company that works for other large companies. So we're contracted to provide healthcare services. And we ended up developing a COVID care support program. And I basically took that over for the company that I work for in Austin, and started providing care and to those patients, granted not in person. So I'm very lucky and blessed in the fact that I did not have to interact one-on-one in person and put myself at risk. As a nurse, this was the first time that I've been able to test the grass on the other side of the fence and work from home. Like, I'm a nurse. That doesn't happen. It's usually in-person patient care. And being able to develop these relationships with these people that are, not well, it's really added, a lot of energy and just joy in my life, because I've been able to express love and support for these people and really support them, not just in a physical wellness way, but in a mental health wellness way, and even spiritually. Just encouraging, connecting with the body, connecting with grounding sources, the nature, going outside, taking deep breaths, trying to, de-stress. So that has been just a beautiful thing that I've been able to be a part of this year, or in the past year. So I've been doing that for 9 months.
And it's given you more time to, just from my observations of your schedule, I don't know anything about the client she's talking to, but it's giving you more time to actually spend that quality one-on-one time with them during those periods. I mean, because everyone likely has gone to a doctor's office at this point, right? And when you go in and you sit in the waiting room, and then you get called back to the little room, and then you go and you sit in that little room, and then, the nurse comes in or a doctor comes in, and you have like a quick conversation, but they've got other rooms that they've got to go bounce to because they're rotating people in and out. And so not having to do all of that maneuvering, I mean, do you feel like that's actually like really helped be able to just focus on that quality time. And it's perceived that way. Yeah.
So in person, I would have maybe 5 to 15 minutes with each patient, when I was working on site, and now it's 45 minutes, 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So,
That's so cool.
It's in-depth conversations, and we have, sensitive conversations, and it lends itself to me being able to coach.
What a crazy, awesome efficiency gain there, right?
Yeah,
like
totally.
That's really cool and very beneficial for those
the
people
patients,
going through all that.
Yeah, right. The people benefit from this because that creates that caring connection, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, somebody does care about me as an individual, not just a patient number." Yeah,
you put the care back in healthcare.
Oh,
I love it.
Care Bears,
Care Bears.
So now that I've talked about my healthcare stuff, you want to talk about yours?
Yeah. So, where do I even start? So basically, moved into new home. I love interior design. Don't know if you can tell that by this office, because this office is a bit more of my just beautiful, sacred space that I just do whatever the French toast I want with it. But the rest of the house is very well put together. And so I got to play around with that, which I probably would have only had the weekends to do had I not been working from home. That's actually really cool. This house was definitely unpacked very fast. And on top of that, my 40th birthday arrived, which I was supposed to spend in Spain. Mm-hmm. So it was supposed to be our Jamaica, and then shortly following was a Spain trip, right? Which, of course, naturally we had to cancel, but we had a lot of fun. We went ziplining, which was really fun. Went on the craziest, steepest hike of my life doing that, but that's okay. It was a workout. So health benefits, right? But very shortly following that 40th birthday, I had found out that I had cervical cancer. And that was a shock to the system, needless to say. And there's like a full-on story as to how I discovered all that. If you want, you can go to my Facebook, or maybe I'll post that same video that I put on Facebook and share it with you guys, or same story. And just upon that discovery, one of the things that I know I for sure lacked before all this happened was the ability to take more time for myself. So I would probably say that I was 100% in fight or flight mode 99.9% of the time, right?
You developed a pattern of being a workaholic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not entirely sure that's fully gone away, but it's way less than it was before. I definitely will find time and make time, and it just feels more fluid now to take care of me. So whether that's doing breathing exercises or meditating, whatever it is. So I do want to say, before I completely freak everyone out, I was able to have a full-on hysterectomy, which I am now just out of the recovery phase of that. And that did remove the cervical cancer. So very fortunate and very blessed to have experienced that, because quite frankly, it's changed my life. It's changed my outlook on my life. I now actually read every label for everything I eat and make sure that it's not going to be some kind of crazy chemical in it that's going to try to kill me. I'm more concerned about my own well-being than I was before. And I know that that sounds crazy, but it's intriguing to me, because I did it myself, that you don't think about that. And it required and forced me to actually think about that am I taking care of me, right? Am I taking care of self? So if anything, this past year, with all of that situation happening, and trust me, my little Care Bear, it is a good thing to have a best friend that's an RN. So, because she was extremely helpful during the procedures I had to go through, but it is something to be said about taking care of yourself, right? And how great I feel now prior to all of that. And I didn't even know back then that there was something wrong, right? I didn't pay attention. I didn't pay attention to my body. I didn't pay attention to how this physical form felt, right? And now I'm more keenly aware of that, which is great. We're going to call that a win. We're going to take a tragic situation and change it into something that literally benefited for like everyone that I, involved in my life, at least.
And even, of course, prior to that, I valued you. I value you now. Like, you're my best friend. We've been, we've known each other for almost 10 years now. And like, you are probably the person that I feel most able to be myself with without fear or without reservation. And, just the idea of not having you around was really hard.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things that you definitely think about. And I couldn't fathom not being able to hug you or see you or hear your voice, even though I know that we are always connected, even when our physical form passes away. I was like, but right now that doesn't feel enough because I have this relationship right now with you. And it just created even more that whole thing, the cancer, the going through the procedures, like it created just this whole new sense of gratitude for having this friendship with you. And better to have it for a time than to never have it at all.
Well, thank you for saying that. You know how
Absolutely.
much you mean to me, and that's incredible. And I will say that I was working on my own personal ability to put things out there, right? Normally, especially on my Facebook, like you would not see a whole lot of personal stuff about me. You get some fun photos of me being on a trip or like, back when we had the ability to go to bars, like if we were doing something like that, right? But I would not share like things that were personally going on with me on that social media platform.
Not being authentic, only, putting up, this
very
mask,
surface level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very surface
This is all
stuff.
I want you to see.
Yeah. Very controlled. When I created the words on, I used the Notepad app on my phone and I like typed everything out. And then I probably edited it like 100 times. And I was like, but I felt very called to share, this information, like very called to share it. I was like, what I'm going through, there's no freaking way, and I know for a fact that there's other people out there that are going through probably something similar. So when I posted it, I was nervous. I was just like, I was shaking. I was like, I can't believe I'm about to do this. And I was like, just do it. And I just like hit send, threw my phone on the bed, walked away, didn't look at it till the next morning. And then when I looked at it, I was just bawling, like, because I couldn't believe the responses I was getting. It was so incredible and so supportive. And a lot of like, people started reaching out to me. A lot of other women started reaching out to me, talking about how they had been going through the exact same thing and asked me what I was doing and was giving me some super solid advice, sharing their stories with me. Friends I hadn't talked to in a long time, friends I didn't even know cared, honestly. And the amount of love and support, there's something to be said about that when it starts happening in numbers of that magnitude, right? Like, I feel like I went through it so quickly. I mean, relatively speaking for myself, it felt timeline wise, it was quite fast. Everything happened quite fast, right? From the time that I found out to the time that, it was removed and all that. But I can't feel more grateful to have regained some of those relationships and actually feel as loved as I was. And understand that some people saw me in a completely different light than what I saw myself. And that empowerment of self is just incredible, right?
Takes courage to be vulnerable.
Yes.
and thank you, Brene Brown. But I just want to like point out that it wasn't just you having the courage to be vulnerable. You gave courage to others to be vulnerable as well. And it may not have been in a public light, but it was in a personal way to be vulnerable with somebody that they weren't necessarily talking to all the time or really close with. They're not, best friends.
Right.
So I think that you were an example, like just a role model in a sense. And I think, you and I have both, that being just an incredible example, you and I have both been working on speaking our truth, being more vulnerable, being okay with who we are and letting other people see us as we are. And so that's been something really incredible that has come out of this year. And that's taken a lot of hard work, support from each other, encouragement.
Yeah.
Lord knows how many times, we sat on the phone and talked about issues and how do we address this with our spouses and how do we address this with our workplace and how do we address this with people on social media? But at the end of the day, it was always, Boo Boo Kitty, you speak your truth.
Yep. Open up that throat chakra.
Yeah,
Pop it out.
Yeah, girl. Pop it out.
Pop it out.
So yeah, I think we've been, working at stepping into our power and not shying away from our power.
I agree. And that's been a very magical experience and something to be said about realizing and not just waiting until you get external validation from others, but realizing how special you are and realizing that your individual lives matter and it does impact others. No matter how hard you try to make it only about you, it's not that way. And honestly, like I can say that not just from a place of singularity in the sense of, it's only just me. I don't even have that many friends, or like, I don't talk to that many people. Well, for those listening, I just want you to understand that we're here to build a community as well for everyone to have a safe space to have a group of friends of like-minded souls or even not like-minded souls. We don't care about that. What we care about is that we want you to feel safe in the environment that you're in and that you have a voice to be heard and you have a spark to be shared. Exactly.
And you are deeply loved.
Very much. Very much.
And that's love. That's another thing is learning to like love without condition and
or judgment,
releasing judgment and attachment.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do, but that's still stuff that we're working on too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know.
All the time.
Not perfect at all.
No. Perfectly imperfect. Thank you.
Perfectly imperfect. There's an imperfect vegetable out there with my name on it. I know it.
So yeah, that was quite the year. We are, again, there's been other things that happen socially that have impacted us all, the riots, multiple riots, different kinds of riots led by different people, different groups standing for different things.
The president during all this,
the election, all that drama.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, that's all, big collective conscious stuff. And, this is just our smaller individual stuff, but
huge impacts though. Yeah. Every voice, every consciousness, every soul counts. Like if you're here, there's a reason behind it. It was a choice that was made. You have a purpose. I heard somebody else say this. I think it was like an Oprah Super Soul Sunday, and I can't remember who she was talking to, but if you are here, you have a purpose. Yeah. Feel safe and confident in that. When I heard that, I was like, oh, profound. Love it.
Yeah. And not to mention that every single one of you, your worth is immeasurable. Yes. We can't quantify your worth.
Right.
You are so special.
All right. So we've got 2 weeks before we're back in Jamaica.
Back in Jamaica, you mean getting there for the first time?
Oh my God. I've been in there in my head for like a full year. So I'm going back physically.
Yes.
So in 2 weeks, we'll have lots of fun stories, I'm sure, to share about that exciting event taking place where Carrie gets to wear her beautiful dress.
Yay.
It's so exciting. Get to be on a beach.
Yes.
Daydreaming about this.
These four walls.
Out of these four walls. Everyone in California is probably laughing at us right now. So, but yes, so thank you all so much. Anything else, Carrie?
No, did you want to do a card reading for the next year or anything like that?
Yeah, let's do that. We can do that.
A card pull.
And if you are watching this versus listening to this, I am using this Psychic Tarot Oracle deck by John Holland, a 65 card deck and guidebook. I love this deck. I stumbled upon it. It comes with a handy dandy book. As you can see, I clearly use this book quite a bit if I just, for some reason, cannot remember what the card means, or if I'm not feeling intuitively called to that card. I find tarot so interesting because I feel like tarot is kind of one of those things where it's like Mount Glass working with me. Mm-hmm. Masters, in case you haven't listened to one of our previous recordings, Mount Glass is my peeps, my masters, teachers, guides, loved ones, angels, self, and above all, source. I like to use them as either them working with me with the tarot deck, or kind of, it's almost like it feels like it's timeline hopping. Like, out of all the probabilities, these are the cards that pulled out, and this is the focus point that I needed to hear, right? So anyway, just something to think about. Little mind twirl. All right, first one that popped out is solar plexus chakra.
Re-energizing.
Yeah. Which is very cool, so like, when I'm going through this deck, I'm mentally thinking or asking questions to Mount Glass, like, what does our collective need to know for this upcoming year, right? Or for the year in advance. And when I say year, I just kind of mean like year from now, year from when you're listening to this, right? It doesn't have to be an actual like timeline number, if that makes sense. But solar plexus chakra, that's very cool. I love it when they just pop out like that.
Mm-hmm. You're like, read me.
Right? Partnerships and alliances.
Oh, I love it. Starting to work together.
Work together. Come together.
It's not about competition. It's about collaboration.
Thank you. Definitely wanted to hear that. Rejoice in celebration.
Oh, I love this.
Right?
We're coming out of COVID. We got some vaccines available.
Yeah.
We're working on ourselves, boosting our vibration, working on getting happier.
Yes. And you know what's funny is that this next card is sacrifice. And don't put any negativity towards that, because what I'm picking up right now is rejoice and celebrate, right? Mm-hmm. In the sacrifices that you feel that you have made that have actually been for your benefit.
Wow.
Fulfillment of wishes.
Oh, gosh.
What are all the beautiful things? These are
awesome cards.
These are amazing, right? What are all the beautiful things that you've been wanting, that you've been wishing for? And how does that feel now? Are they coming true? Are you working on those coming true?
Are you manifesting your wishes,
your dreams? Manifesting that wishes, right? Sometimes you don't just sit back and wait for those little wishes to come to you. Maybe things just align the way that they're supposed to for you to work that out, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Firm foundation. Building that firm foundation to have those fulfillment of wishes, to rejoice in celebration over some of the sacrifices that you've made, to build partnerships and alliances, and really working on that energy center, right?
Wow.
Love. And I'm not even making this up. This is the last card, but truth. Right? Finding that balance in your life. I don't know if you can see that this is a scale that they're stepping on, right? Universal truth. You see the universe in the back. And I'm not reading from the book. This is just what I'm picking up. So like having that universal truth and discovering that which is honestly what we're here to do, is share what our universal truth is. Amazing. So good.
What incredible cards. So beautiful, Shy.
Looking forward to this year. Makes me excited. So many good things. So many good things. Just juicy.
Oh,
just juicy. I might be thirsty. I don't even know.
Oh my gosh. Well, this has just been an incredible, just review, reflection, taking time to really appreciate, even through the struggles, all the beauty, all the joy, all the, places of gratitude, things that, we are grateful for.
So grateful.
Thank you so much for, taking the time to do this with me this morning. And thank you, all of our little infinities, for joining us and taking a moment to just sit in our blessings. And we really look forward to the next time, our next episode.
Absolutely. Me too. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope you all have a wonderful day, week, year in advance. Clearly we had some beautiful messages for that. Love yourself always, please.
Love always. Self.
Bye.
Bye. Lovely infinite beings, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this moment and being open to receiving light and love. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we really look forward to our next connection.
And as a reminder, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay notified of new content from Love Always Self. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Love Always Self, which will be linked in the show notes. We would love to hear from y'all. So if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, please email us at contact@lovealwaysself.com or send us a private message on our social media.
I'm Karista.
And I'm Shyra.
And until next time, love always self.